Okay, so this short video, and it is a short one, is about adaptations in plants and animals. So adaptations of plants, let's start with plants, in the tropical rainforest. Okay, so if you are going to thrive in any ecosystem, it's really handy to adapt, and you need to be able to describe adaptations. So this is how a plant or an animal, how it specialises to that environment. And there's a plural there, so we're going to need to know a couple. So the first thing we're going to do, I want you to think about those really tall trees we were talking about, the ones that make it right up to the canopy, or even as an emergent. So if we imagine, here's our tree, and there are ways that this tree has adapted to survive. Now, if you can remember what we said about the soil in the tropical rainforest, did it have lots and lots of nutrients or not many at all? What was the situation with the soil? Was it very rich or not very rich? Okay, so the answer is that the soil doesn't have many nutrients in it, not least because everything's growing so quickly, they scoop up all the nutrients through their roots. So there's no point in this tree having very long roots that go right down under the ground. So the roots aren't particularly deep because there aren't nutrients there. So the roots aren't particularly deep for this tall tree. Now that makes it a bit precarious, because if you're a very tall tree and you haven't got very long roots that hold you and anchor you down, then that tree could fall over. So they've developed these wide buttress roots. So there are buttress roots at the bottom of the tree, and they're great big roots that kind of stick out on either side, a bit like stabilisers, a bit like, you know, if you saw someone on a scaffolding tower at the side of a building that was very tall and high, they often have these kind of stabilisers coming out the side. That means that that scaffold tower won't fall over. And it's just the same with the tree. The buttress roots create stability. They make the tree very stable, and it's less likely to fall over. And that is linked very closely to the shallow roots. And the shallow roots are linked very closely to the fact that it's ideal growing conditions. So all of the nutrients are taken up. So the soil is quite poor and the roots are shallow. So buttress roots is a really, really important one. An example of one of these tall trees is the kapok tree. Another example would be a mahogany tree. So there's some named examples of these very tall trees. Okay, so another adaptation that we could talk about are the shape of the leaves. So the shapes of the leaves in the tropical rainforest often have this very long pointed tip, and it's designed like a gutter with a tip to shed the water. So when the rain falls down, these great big drops of rain, and they fall onto the leaf, that they will quickly come off the end of the leaf, and this is called a drip tip. And this is here because it helps water run off leaves. Now why would you want the water to run off the leaf nice and quickly? Why is that a thing? Why is that helpful to you? So the reason that you want that to happen, the reason that drip tips are a great idea, is because if there was too much water, the leaf could snap or even rot if it just stays on there. So you often have the waxy leaf that sort of runs the water off, and often people have these in their houses as houseplants, and that drip tip helps the water run off the leaf. Now there are lots and lots of other adaptations. You get some plants that do called a strangler fig, and what they do is they say, right, I'd like to be up here where the sun is, I could grow tall, but that'd take ages. And they actually grow around the trees and they run right up there, and then they can kind of do their stuff and have their flowers up high and get to the sun. Other plants actually get dropped down. They get dropped down like this, and they grow on top of the canopy. So that's another really good way of adapting, is to get your seeds dropped there by plants who eat the fruit, and then just grow there. And these are called epiphytes, or air plants. So you might have one at home. And if you remember, that was called a strangler fig. And actually what can happen with these is the tree dies and the strangler fig just remains around the edge. Okay, so that's plants, and that could easily come up. You also need to be ready with a couple of adaptations of animals. So if we put down here animal adaptations, and again you need to have two, because there's a plural there, else you wouldn't have time to talk about 5 or 6. So let's think of a couple. So the spider monkey is a great starting point. And the spider monkey, we've got fingers like this that help us to move things around, and we've got a thumb which helps us to grab onto things. You can't do it so easily with your toes because your big toe doesn't do that. But the spider monkey has, it's called an opposable thumb, basically has its feet, so the toes of its feet have a similar grip. So it has gripping toes, which means that it can easily move around, and a gripping tail. So a spider monkey is able to move very easily through the canopy. Now, why might that be a good thing? Why might that be a good adaptation to have? Well, what happens is if you're up in the canopy, what are the benefits of that? So this is good because you can escape predators. So if you can, say you're up in the canopy and suddenly you are aware, imagine you're up in your canopy as a spider monkey and you're here and you suddenly realise that somebody's coming to get you, you can very quickly kind of make your way very quickly through these trees by jumping and grabbing and using your tail, your hands and your feet to make your way across. So that's really good. So you can escape your predators. You can also reach food, like fruits, etc. So up in the canopy, loads of flowers and fruits all growing up here. It's great, but some animals never come down from the canopy. So if you're a spider monkey, you can get up there easily, you can move around easily to get to the food, and you can escape your predators. So have a look at some videos of a spider monkey, they're really cute. Another adaptation that is a really cool one is the sloth, or the sloth, you can decide. And the sloth has got these gripping fingers, and they can grab easily onto the branches. So they have curved claws to hang from branches. So what they can do is just hang over. They use their claws. They can easily, and it just means they can move around easily. So they are designed. Sorry, it's the worst drawing of a sloth in the history. Right, no laughing. Okay, so they can hang from there. The other cool thing about them is that they have green fur, which is actually algae. So I'll do it in green. Algae grows in their fur. So why would you want to have algae growing in your fur? Why would you want to be green? Any thoughts? Okay, it's for camouflage. So if you're up in the tree and you're green, then you're less likely to be seen and therefore you're less likely to be attacked. Being up in the canopy obviously offers that great protection, so you're not down on the forest floor, you're probably hanging around up here somewhere, and again you can access the food. And a fun fact about the sloth, they come down once a week for a poo. I have no idea why they don't do it from a great height, but they do come down once a week to do that. So please make sure that you are ready with at least 2 adaptations. We've got the sloth and the spider monkey, and 2 plant adaptations, and that was our buttress roots and drip tips.